What is up,
What's
dude?
going on, man? How's it going, Ryan?
Good, man. How you been?
I'm good. Recovering a little bit from a crazy end of the season, but you know, it's good.
It's been a gnarly one. So let me introduce you. I got Gaets Orr, fellow Volkswagen and Euro enthusiast, founder of Mk2 Mayday, on my podcast today. Oh, I was gonna hit the applause button. There it is,
Oh, thank you.
dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm glad we finally got it to work out.
Yeah, dude. So you've been busy. I've been busy, but we finally got to hook up. So that's the good thing. And what a dope coincidence that we hooked up on a Mk2 Tuesday. Today's Tuesday.
That's right. It is Mark Tuesday. Tuesday. Yep.
And
That's it.
I got a Mk2
Perfect.
shirt
Yeah.
on, dude.
I got a Mayday shirt on.
Just for you, just for the occasion.
Nice.
Let me see here. So let's just jump right into it, dude. I always start out
Let's do it.
with new guests because it's the first time we've met, although I'm a fan.
Yep. Thank you. I am as well.
I want to know your Euro history, your Volkswagen history. I want to know how you got started in Volkswagens, dude.
Yeah, so it started. My dad has a European import mechanic shop. He's got his own little, independent shop.
Nice.
He only works on European. So that's when I was growing up. I was all around Audis, VWs, BMWs, Volvos, Saabs. There was a lot of that kind of stuff around. So plenty of VWs around. Around I don't know. When I was probably going into high school or so, my sister had a Mk2, an '85 Mk2 GLI that
Nice.
she had put together and was running around in. Yeah. And her mother-in-law ended up backing into the driver's side rear door. So instead of fixing it, she ended up retiring it, and it ended up becoming my first car. So my dad and I kind of pieced it back together. We had, looking back on now, it's like a shame that we did this. We had a really clean big bumper four-door Golf at the shop that we chopped the quarter panel off of and kind of like stitched it back together. It was, no repair to be proud of, I'd say, but it did the job for a high school kid's first
Wait.
car. So that was my introduction into VWs there.
Why did you guys cut up a perfectly good
Yeah, I know.
four-door Golf
At the
to
time,
save
I was all.
Wouldn't you just take the 16 valve
Yeah,
and throw it in the Golf?
Well, no, so it was an 8-valve GR, 8-valve, so it wasn't. Yeah, but so
Okay.
at the time I didn't want anything to do with the hatch, which is funny because now that's.
How dare
I'm a
you?
hatch guy. I'm a Golf guy. Yeah, like I wanted the Jetta trunk. I wanted, I like that body, so it ended up being the donor. But yeah, looking back, I'm like, man, I really wish I had that clean. It had the blue interior, big bumper, big door, four-door. Oh man, yeah, I would love to have that thing back. There was a few around the shop like that ended up getting away. My brother had a black four-door, big bumper Jetta that was at the shop that sat right next door for a while, and that one ended up going to the yard at some point. But yeah, man, you look at that nowadays, and it's like, man, how could we do that? But at the time, they were a dime a dozen,
I know, like looking back on it, it's like, dude, those cars would have been amazing, but they were just like parts cars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The door that's on my GTI, the driver's door. I needed a door. I went to the junkyard, and there was a mint T-Red big bumper coupe sitting in the junkyard that I pulled the door off of and put it on. Like, and it's like, now, man, I would kill for that coupe nowadays. It was like mint, just someone, I don't know, either blown clutch or head gasket or something silly. And this mint car, you know what I mean? It's, oh man, you look back these days, and it's a shot to the heart,
So what was it about Mk2s that got you? Obviously, you've been a lifer so far. Like,
yeah, well, so like it would just happen that my sister had that 85 or 86, I can't remember, GLI. And like it was just a hand-me-down, so that's where it started. I drove that for a couple of years, and then I kind of got the hots for a Mark III. I was in high school. They were kind of, at that time they were 6, 8 years old. I thought they were cool. I really wanted to a GLX with a VR6. I thought,
Yes.
my dad had this guy that had a 95 black on black GLX that he brought into the shop. And I saw that thing for the first time. My dad put a Magnaflow cap back on it and it sounded so sick. I was sold on the VR6 right then. So that, I wanted that Mark III. Yeah. But so I didn't end up getting a GLX though. I didn't find one in my price range. Ended up selling for a 2-liter, and that probably ultimately was the reason the GTI was built,
My first water cooled Volkswagen was a Mark III Jetta GL, and I hated it. I hated it. That's
that 2-liter, man. Like there's no fun to be had in that thing. Like,
no, dude.
You're just.
I would show up to the meets and all the dudes with their like driver's edition, Mark III VRs and all the GLXs, and I'm over here in like this fucking clapped out GL. That made me hate Jettas.
Yeah. It's the stock 2-liter, man. But yeah, so I what I thought was upgrading into a Mark III at the time. I had that for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. I lowered it. I put it on Borbet Type E's, GLX tails, the stuff you do on a Mark III at that time, VR6 lip, smoke decodes.
I didn't do any of that. I cut my springs and pulled the hubcaps off the Steelers.
I had some cheap coilers. Who did I come from? Like TM Tuning or something like that.
I put a New Speed windshield banner across the top, even though there was no fucking New Speed parts on it.
Yeah, right. It's the sticker that counts, right?
Exactly.
But so yeah, man. So I had that for a little bit, and then I went to college, and when I got to college, I met this guy that was doing a 12-valve swap in some sort of Jetta, I think a T-Red big bumper Jetta.
Nice.
So I kind of started hanging out with him, and I was like, man, this is it. Like the Mark II body that is a little bit lighter, a little more nimble or so than the Mark III, but with that VR6 power. So that kind of that bug kind of got planted there. And then I don't know what I ended up buying the GTI in January of 2007. So I've had that thing since January of 2007.
Dang.
Been going on 15 years. Yeah, 15 years this coming year.
I did a deep dive in your Instagram and went way back to when you first started posting pictures. And you had the 24 valve. Yeah,
when I first shaved the bay,
Yeah, the 24 valve was out on the ground. And then you had the bay sitting there next to it. And I was like, oh, this dude goes deep.
Yeah, that was rendition 2 or 3 of the car at that point.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, so when did Instagram start? It was long after 2007. I didn't. For the first half of the build wasn't on social media. It was on Vortex.
Vortex.
Dude, I had a huge build thread on Vortex. It's still there. I know the pictures are probably dead, but it's still on there if you search for.
I'm definitely gonna search it.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what's funny? Yeah, man.
It's my username's Gates, same as my name. So
I'm gonna check it out. You know what's funny? The first water cooled Volkswagen I ever wanted was a Mark II GLI. It's something about the Mark II body style that I just absolutely have always loved. I've never seen a Mark II.
Yeah, me too.
Dude,
I've never seen a Mark II that I didn't love.
Exactly.
That's me. I'm a Mark II guy through and through.
And for me, it's weird though because I didn't have my first Mark II until this year.
Yeah, the white one you have.
The Mark II, the VR. That was a 12-valve VR.
Yeah.
And so I got it.
Nice.
I didn't get. I thought I knew. Oh yeah, Mark II VRs. Yeah. I thought I knew, but I didn't know. No. It wasn't until I drove that car that I was like, oh, this all fucking makes sense now. It's so different too. Exactly, a 12-valve VR in a Mark I is different than in a Mark II and then in a Mark III, and it's really hard to explain.
Yeah.
How? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never really been much of a Mark I guy. I've never really hung around it much, so that's never been. I appreciate them. Obviously what they were as a stepping stone to the Mark II. But yeah, that's really my Mark II is my, and Mark III. I parted out a million Mark IIIs in like
Parts cars.
10 years ago or so. Yeah, oh yeah. When you could buy them for 300, $500 and part them out for 10 times that.
Someone had that signature on Vortex. I always remember it. It was like, your Mark III is my parts car or some shit like that.
Yeah. Well, I saw that recently. Mike Dog Pizza, he was saying, it's not even, we can't even call the Mark IIIs anymore. It's the Mark IVs that have that title now.
Yep, 100%. They're the new Mark IIIs, as cliche as that sounds. But yeah, totally. Like Mark IIIs are
right. It's crazy.
So sought after. Mark IIs are like, I want to say they're probably harder to get shit for than Mark I's.
Yeah, well, they made so much less of them. Like they made a ton more Mark I's than Mark IIs, didn't they? I don't know what the exact production numbers are, but I think there was a lot more Mark I's.
If you look at like all the cool shit people like the small metal Euro bumpers, there's people who like remake those, so you can still buy those.
Yeah.
But finding like a legit, I don't know, like I didn't really have experience with like those eBay big bumpers. Are those garbage? Like the Mark II, like knockoff?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, I had some replicas on my car when I first built it because that's like all I could come across.
Right.
But then I randomly came across a set of brand new OEM, new old stock big bumpers that this guy had in his basement that was like an hour from me.
Jeez.
And got a steal for him. I just happened to be cruising Craigslist one day and found these things. It was like perfect.
When I was looking for stuff for that Mark II and I had it, I sold it, by the way. I don't have it anymore.
You did? Oh my gosh, come on, man.
I know, dude.
You have to drop it on me like on the episode tonight?
I should have kept it. I should have kept it. I regret it. I really do.
I know already. How long ago it hadn't been that long, right? You just had it at Pacific Waterman, didn't you?
All right, so I'm going to go through the story of the Mark II with you real quick. I'm looking for wheels. I'm looking for a set of wheels. 4x100. So I'm looking at 4x100 Facebook classifieds, right? Marketplace.
Yeah.
And I always, like everyone else does, I'm like, well, what's the nearest big city here? Yeah, Portland, looked at that, nothing there. Seattle, looked at that, no, not really finding anything there. I mean, there's some stuff there, but nothing I really wanted. Idaho, look at Idaho, and I'm like going through, and then boom, this Mark II pops up. And I'm like, oh, this thing's pretty clean. And I'm looking in the pictures, I'm like, it's got a fucking VR swap. It's got a 5-lug conversion, big bumper car, like, whoa. So I hit the dude up, and I'm like, yo, hey, is this still available? I'm like super interested. He's like, yes, still available. I've got a bunch of people bugging me, but nobody wants to put the money up. I was like, I will be at your house Saturday morning. And it's like Thursday or something like that.
Nice.
And this is like Twin Falls, Idaho? I think I'm saying it right. So it's damn near Utah, right? And I'm in Central Oregon. So I get off the phone with the guy, like call him, and he knows nothing about the car. He's like, we bought the car like this. I bought it for my son. He's driven it for a year. He needs a truck. You know, like he wants a truck now. All right. So I hang up with the dude and I like walk into my bedroom where my wife is sitting, and I'm like, hey, wifey, you want to go to Idaho this weekend?
And buy another car.
She's like, what? No. But her friend lives in Boise. And so I was like, hey, your really good friend lives in Boise. We could go to Boise. You could visit your friend. I could just pop off for a little while, go get this car. You'll never know that I'm gone. So it all worked out.
Yep,
and I went and grabbed it. And it had so much paperwork. I didn't even get through all the paperwork. But it had the VR was out of a Passat. So it was yanked out of a Passat. I guess there was like a shop in Idaho or maybe Utah who did the swap. They did a great job with it, and everything was done like super well. You could tell it was before the age of the
what year was
swap
the body?
kits. It was actually it wasn't even a GTI. It was a Golf, and it was an 89,
Okay.
88. Somewhere around there.
So C1 car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whoever did the swap really well. They did a 5-lug conversion. They did all the cool stuff. I think it was a small bumper car that they put big bumpers on.
Okay, yeah. Probably if it was the 88, then yeah.
Yeah. And dude, it was, I mean, it was an awesome car. It had like the 8-valve interior though. As I was doing some more research, like the cloth, you know what I mean? How it had that like different pattern than the 16-valve stuff.
Yeah.
But it had like either Jetta or 16-valve GTI front seats, but everything else was like 8-valve GTI. It was weird. Like the door cards, everything.
Did it match though, or was it like kind of off?
Everything matched except for the driver and passenger seats.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then like finding matching seats for like, I guess the 8-valve stuff is like way harder than the 16-valve stuff, because I couldn't find fucking seats to match the rear bench to save my life.
Yeah. All that, like the stuff from I mean, anything these days is tougher to find, but the older ones in particular, I feel like are even, tougher to find stuff for. The first half of Mark IIs.
So I get that car. And I'm driving it around, and it's a fun car. And then I get this like bug that I want a transporter. I want a Vanagon, right? I want a Vanagon. Yeah. I was like, dude, I need a Vanagon, and they're $8,000, right? For a clapped Vanagon. I'm just gonna get a clapped Vanagon. I'm gonna slam it on its nuts. So I'm gonna sell the Mark II. So I sell the Mark II in like trying to get to the Vanagon goals, right? So I sell the Mark II. The guy who has the Mark II buys it off me, drives it to his garage, and then never drives it after that. Like it sits in his garage for 6 months.
So how long ago was this?
This is
it's
all.
Been that long? What did you? I thought you had.
This has all happened within the last.
You didn't have a Mark II with you at Pacific Waterland?
I did. Yeah. So check it out.
Okay.
So I sell it to this guy. It sits in his garage for like 6 months. I probably had it for maybe like 3 or 4 months. But check this out. Ben, if you're listening, before I even had, I posted a picture on Instagram of the Mark II hooked up to a dolly behind my truck, and like this dude would not stop bugging me about. He's like, I'll give you this much money as soon as you get back. Like, I want that. And so like literally once a week, he'd be like, sell me the Mark II, 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 and he was offering me more than what I paid for it. Like a decent amount more than what I paid for it. And so finally I was like, all right, fuck that. I need a Vanagon. I'll sell the Mark II to this dude because he keeps bugging me for it. So I know it's easy money there. And then I'll be like, more than halfway to my Vanagon funds. So that's what I do.
Right.
So he takes the Mark II and sticks it in his garage. He works on like international scouts and like overlanding stuff. Like that's like what he's into, and he might even have a business like fixing them up or whatever. But he loves Mark IIs because that's where like like his teenage years and early 20s. He's a Volkswagen guy, and he was in love with Mark IIs. So, anyways, he buys it from me. It sits in his shop for 6 months. Then he hits me back, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm never gonna drive this car. It's just sitting here." He's like, if you want to buy it back, you can buy it back for exactly what I bought it off of you for. If not, I'm going to put it on Marketplace. And I was like, no, I don't want to see this thing go on Marketplace.
Yeah.
And then like some dumb kid gets it. You know what I mean?
Right. Who knows what happens to it?
That's not going to happen.
Exactly.
So we get it back, and I have it. Was not planning on getting that car back. Right? In the meantime, I decided that I wasn't going to get a Vanagon because they were too expensive. So I got a Eurovan instead.
Yeah. Okay.
So I just bought a Eurovan. I just bought my wife's Mark I Jetta Coupe. I'd bought a set of wheels and some other things, and then this Mark II comes back into my life. So I've got like a ton of fucking money that I just been like out into the ether. And I'm like,
man. You gotta hop on those deals when you can.
Yeah. So I get the Mark II back. Throw some wheels on it, fix some things with it. I took it to Pacific Waterland, which is like one of the things that I wanted to do with it. And I had an amazing, on that drive. So before that, my buddy Chris is driving it around town, and some guy flags him down and is like, dude, I'll give you whatever you want for this car right now. And buddy Chris comes back to my house. He's like, hey, this dude, I guess he's a Porsche mechanic here at a local Porsche dealership. He's like, this guy wants this fucking car. Like, he's willing to pay like an insane amount of money for it. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this actually works out because I actually didn't plan on buying this car back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
But it's going to go to a Porsche mechanic. So that's cool. This dude knows the car.
Yeah. And hopefully, hopefully someone that's, appreciates it.
Yeah. So I could tell the dude appreciate the car. I mean, he's got, he works on Porsches every day. So I'm sure he can feel his way around a Mk2. And he was super stoked on it.
Yeah, definitely.
So after Pacific Waterland, he actually, like a week before he was trying to buy the car, and I was like, dude, hold off. I'm going to take it to a car show this weekend, and then I'll decide if I'm going to sell it when I get back. And so I get back from the car show, and he's like, I'll give you stupid money. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'll take your stupid money.
Yeah.
And then,
nice. Hey, I don't blame you. If you can get stupid money for it, man.
I started seeing pictures of it that people were posting it because I had this little booth, this FYEAH Volkswagens booth at the show, and I just threw a bunch of stickers everywhere. Parked the Mk2, parked my wife's coupe. I had a couple buddies in the and it was just like something to have a presence there. It was super fun actually. It was rad, and I could just hand out a bunch of stickers. But I started seeing pictures of it pop up on those 5-spoke Southern ways, like after I'd already sold it, and like that heart-wrenching like I was like, no.
So they say never let the first time you see your car rolling be when it drives away from you.
Yeah, dude. And it's like funny because you can take pictures with your phone or whatever of your own car, but it's different when you see other. Yeah, it's different when you see other people's pictures, and you're like, "That's what it looks like."
Yeah, it's no doubt.
So that's that.
Yeah, man.
Sorry to hijack everything, but that's what happened.
No, man, that's
to the Mk2. But yours, by the way,
nice.
Your 24 valve is
thanks, man.
Savage. So let's get into that. So
I appreciate that.
Where did that car come from? How did you stumble upon the early days?
So I knew, like I said, like I had the Mark III. I went to college. I started hanging on with my buddy Rob, who had a Jetta that he was putting a VR in. So that kind of like planted the seed for it. And I just kind of like I said, I had always wanted a VR of some sort. So I ended up buying I knew I wanted to do a Mark II VR project, and I'd settled on by that point I wanted a hatch, and was looking Craigslist, and I found the one that I ended up going with, and another one that was like an early car. I think it was like a 87 16 valve GLI or GTI, and I wanted big bumpers and I don't know though. Like I want a big door, like the later car. Mm-hmm. So once I came across the one that that ended up being the car, we looked at it, and then like on the way home, I called the guy and told him I wanted it. It had been like hit on the. Go ahead.
What year was this? Like right.
So this was probably January 07 when I picked it up, but I started probably looking for all this in November, December 06, something like that.
Shit.
It's crazy to think back.
Definitely
how long ago
Vortex days.
Yeah, definitely. The whole build thread was on Vortex. So yeah, I mean, I knew that I wanted to do a VR6 swap to Mark II. So, my buddy Rob, who kind of was doing the Jetta VR swap, we all came down to Maryland because I went to school in Boston, and he was from New Hampshire, and I'm from Maryland. So we all on spring break that year drove down to Maryland from Boston and did the VR swap, the 12 valve swap in my GTI that spring. So we got that, like the engine was done, and then over that summer, like I painted it. It's a GM color. Spiral gray metallic. The whole exterior and jams and everything. The bay didn't get done at that point.
Okay.
But I think I got it ready. What was the show for Broke Down in Massachusetts? I drove up to Broke Down, called Broke Status back in the day. I don't know if you're familiar with the Broke Status.
Yeah, Broke Status. Yeah, so, that's such a throwback.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Talking about Tobias on the People's Car podcast, so that he was a Broke Status guy at that time. But yeah, so car got together for that. Over that next winter, I guess it would have been the 07-08 winter, I found one of those Z Engineering superchargers, those old Z Engineering
Nice.
superchargers. So I bought that thing. I put that on there, rode that for a long time. Ended up, I think maybe I was coming up to broke down the next summer, I think, and maybe I blew it up on the way there. Ended up blowing up that supercharger, or not blowing it up. It had a bearing that went, and it made it so it couldn't be, it wasn't usable anymore. So,
Oh,
yeah, I can't like. I ended up like, yeah, I don't know. We went through a bunch of change. I had that supercharger. That was the first version of the car. It was like more of a summer daily car though. At that point, that I could take to shows. It wasn't anywhere near to the level it is nowadays.
I think I found a picture of it on your Instagram where it was
Potentially.
charged. It was an engine bay shot. It's
Yeah.
got like the red intake
Yeah,
tubing.
that's it. Yep. Yep, that was
Dude,
it.
that's
Yeah.
sick, dude.
Yeah, that's a super throwback there.
So the charger blows up. Is that when you're
Yeah,
like?
Charger blew up.
Is that when you're like, all right, it's time to throw a 24 valve in this thing?
I'm trying. No, it wasn't immediately then. So, how did it go? I took the charger off for a while. I think once it was blowing up, I think I just held onto it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up rebuilding the 12 valve. I put like, I don't know, I did cams and some stuff like mild stuff to the engine, but I never ended up putting the charger back on. So I had a fresh engine for a while, and then I sold the Z Engineering charger to a buddy of mine, and I think around all this time, this is probably, when would this have been? Probably 2009, 2010, somewhere in that time frame at this point. I sold the supercharger, and I found the 24 valve on Vortex in Rochester, New York. A guy was parting out a GOI that had been wrapped around a fire hydrant.
Ooh,
Worked out.
damn.
Yeah,
I remember back
it was pretty wild.
around that time frame when everybody was blowing their VRs up with turbos because it was still like
Oh yeah,
everyone was experimenting
so
with the turbo
was-
VRs.
I was between. I remember before I decided to go the 24 valve route, which ended up going with like the super or the Shade Bay and going down that route.
Mm-hmm.
I did briefly kind of think about doing a turbo 12 valve in it. Like I was thinking about doing something, with serious power, but I had nothing but trouble with the supercharger because it wasn't factory. It was like just like a constant struggle to keep the thing on the road. So I was like, you know what? Turbo is not the way to go. Like I should do something more on the stock realm of things. So that's what, like the 24 valve had a little more power. But at that time there weren't many people doing them. There was kind of, I mean, I was by no means the first to do it, but at that time it's not like they're as common. Nowadays you see 24 valves more than you see a 12 valve, like a Mark III 12 valve, it seems. But so yeah, that's kind of how I got down that road.
I was saying like back and around that time frame, I had so many friends who were experimenting with turbo VRs and they were just blowing everything up. Like
yeah.
boost, boom.
Exactly.
Oh, there that one goes.
Yeah, and that's what I finally decided. Like, I don't need to be doing that. Like, I like driving this thing too much. Like, just put a 24 valve in. It'll have a little more power. It'll be a stock engine, and it'll be a fun car to drive.
Yeah, and then I had a buddy, John. He was the VR guru of the bunch, and he had a Corrado VR turbo Corrado. He was like, yeah man, this thing's putting out so much power. And then we took it to like a drag race day, and he like could not get down the track. It was just like no traction.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's like, dude.
Right. Yeah, front wheel drive VRT with 400 horsepower. Yeah, and that's not the easiest thing to get to hook up. Right?
And then he blew it up.
yeah, no, right. And then it's finally, you finally do get to hook, and you either blow a trans or you throw a piston through the block, one or the other.
When you swapped from the 12 valve to the 24 valve, what were some of the things that you had to change for consideration of the different types of VR motors?
There wasn't really. I mean, it was, as far as like bolting it into the car, it was pretty much identical to the 12 valve. I've got a O2A from a Mark III VR on it. It uses a lot like the Mark III rear motor mount bracket. It just bolts right up the same way. The front motor mount you have to like notch slightly so that it'll clear the oil cooler. But other than that, it just bolts right in like a normal 12 valve does. At that time, it was the management that was like, I mean, I'm not a wiring guy in the slightest. Like, I don't, so it's on them standalone from Lugtronic. Kevin Black did the wiring harness and all the tuning and all that kind of stuff. But that was just kind of like what was available at the time. Like, he was making plug and play like harnesses then. Matt from Eurocraft, like that would have been like the early beginning of him doing his swaps and everything. Nowadays he's doing, tons of that kind of stuff like that. If I were to do it again, like today, I would probably go that route. I guess some sort of stock management and some sort of harness, like what Matt does, something like that.
If you could do it again, would you shave the bay again? I always hear nightmare stories about shaved bays.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes it so I don't drive it quite as much as I would or I used to. I do love the look of it, though. I mean, I love a shaved bay car. I still love all that. But I do. So I've got a coupe too that I haven't really actually said anything publicly about. I've told a few people about, but at some point that's gonna
your Instagram, dude.
Yeah, it's not on there.
Oh, yeah, just hiding stuff, dude.
Well, it's not something I'm going to build anytime soon, or if I do, like, I don't know what the timeline is for it, so I don't want to put it out there and then people being like expecting it to be built like this coming winter or something like that, and that's just not happening. But the goal with that car would be some sort of driver car. I mean, it would definitely be like a car that could hold its own at a show. It would look, have a nice stance and be slammed on some sort of wide wheels or something like that. But I'd love to do like a 3.2 R motor, but make it look like factory, like it came, like a Mark II came factory with the R motor in it, and it'd be more set up as kind of a driver type car or something. I wouldn't, feel as, like you said, the shaved bay, it's like, man, you just don't want to put miles on it. And like I used to drive that thing all over the place. I mean, I drove it from here in Maryland down to Solo like numerous times. Drove it up to Vermont. I've driven that thing all over the place. But the bay definitely does see a little bit of
wear and tear.
You can see a little bit of wear and tear on it from that. But it's all good. It's a car. Should get driven.
Drive it.
Yeah, definitely.
So
it's turning more like a trailer clean now with Mayday and stuff, which kind of is a little bit unfortunate. Toting all the Mayday tents and tables and merch and all that kind of stuff around. It's seen its fair share of trailer time in the past couple of years.
Being a Mark II guy in the scene, one of the prominent Mark II guys in the scene, do people just throw Mark IIs at you anytime they're selling something?
No, not really.
No?
I mean, yes. On the Mayday account, occasionally, yeah. I'm not on my personal account much at all, really. Now that I do the Mayday thing, but yeah, it's actually not more people selling them. It's more people looking for them. They all think that
That makes sense.
They think that I'm like sitting on like a gold mine of Mark IIs that I can just pull
That's what I was thinking.
Whatever. So I had some guy the other day. He was asking for coupe, drip car, like roof gutters, coupe. I was like, dude, I'm looking for a set myself, like much like I'm,
not enough to go around, bro.
Hook up for myself, but it's funny. These people, they just think that I'm just sitting on some like gold mine of Mark IIs or something. It's funny.
That is funny. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in Central Oregon, and there aren't very many of us Volkswagen guys here. It's like anytime anyone's selling a Volkswagen, I'll get a random DM. It's like, hey man, you want this new Beetle? It's like, fucking no.
No, not at all, man.
No one comes to me with cool shit. It's like, hey yo man, you want this Passat?
Right.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That's super funny.
Yeah,
I would have expected that you're like sitting on at least know what's up, dude. People would be like, yo man, you want to buy my GTI? Want to build another car?
It's not people trying to
How'd you get that?
them.
How'd you get that?
More people trying to buy stuff.
That makes sense though.
Okay, so the coupe, it was right when the pandemic hit, and I started working from home, and I was just bored as fuck. I was sitting here, hadn't been on Vortex in I don't know, probably years. Went on Vortex and just saw this.
It's
saw
still
this
there?
coupe, and it was in
Vortex?
yeah, Vortex. It is still there. Yeah. So like this guy had this coupe in Atlanta, and well, Atlanta from me is like 12 and a half hours.
Oh shit.
So I saw this coupe, and it was like the week or two before Memorial Day. So I had a 3-day week. Even though I was working from home, I still had like Monday. I didn't have to work. So I was like, fuck it, man. I started messaging this guy. He was basically giving it away. I paid more in gas to get down there and back than I did for this car. Yeah. And this was when gas was like $1.40 a gallon. So like, I left my house at midnight on like Friday night, Saturday morning, drove straight to Atlanta, got there at like 1 o'clock, loaded this coupe up, turned around and drove straight back to Maryland, got home at like 2 a.m.
20,
yeah, but it was like
25-hour round, 26-hour round trip.
Yeah. So, but dude, it was like in like a month and a half into like working from home and doing nothing. I was like, dude, I got to get out of the house. I'm doing something here.
So it
just kind of worked out.
Since you haven't posted the coupe anywhere, you got to send me some pictures so I could put it up on this episode.
Yeah, I'll send you some. I mean, it's not like I'm keeping. It's decent. So it's clean. I mean, it's a Southern car, so there's like no rot in it or anything. But the passenger side B pillar was punched. Like it looks like, so I don't know what they hit, but like it needs a quarter panel. But luckily, I believe I can get away with using a golf quarter panel because of what, like, I don't think I need a coupe quarter panel, which would be nice because a coupe would be much harder to find a quarter panel for, obviously.
Right.
I think I could get away with that, but and it needs a door, but it's pretty clean. Like the rest of the body's pretty straight. The rubber is pretty gone on it. Like it was, it's a car from Atlanta sitting in the sun for, God knows how long. So they're pretty dried up and stuff.
Did you say what color it was? I think I might have missed it.
Black.
Black. Oh.
No, I don't think I said. Yeah, it's black, big bumper, 1990.
Nice, dude.
Yeah,
that's a dope little car.
I'm a big bumper for them. I guess I like both, but I'm more of a big bumper. More of a big bumper guy myself.
I've always been more of a big bumper guy, but the small bumper cars like grew on me hard over the last couple of years.
I can't. It's not like I dislike them. I mean, like there's plenty of my wall. I mean, like Heather Charge 77, her green, dude, that thing is so sick.
I was gonna ask you.
That was sick that they brought that up for Mayday.
Dude, that car's so sick, even in
but
photos.
Like in Mel's Mk2 Mel, like his with the small bumpers and the kid on it now, he won at Mayday. Okay. Best small bumper golf. Yeah, I mean, I mean, I like a small bumper too, but personally, I'm more of a big bumper. My GTI.
I was gonna ask you what your favorite current scene Mk2 is. What's your current favorite? It can't be your own car.
Yeah, not mine. That's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say because so many of the Mk2s, like it's almost like I've become like numb to them in a respect because like we've become so close with like the Mk2 community that it's like I see them at not every event, but a lot. I mean, there's so many sick Mk2s in the scene right now. It's like
which is crazy.
God, I could name a million. I know so Matt Eurocrafts, Montana, and MVP Nicks, small bumper. Anything of like Scott Norton's, his Callaway, or the Rallies, or like, I mean, there's like so many Mk2 guys. Like, I don't know. I could go on and name a million of them. Andy Dixon's Jetta that he won Best of Show. That thing is insane. Maybe that might be it because it's brand new. It's just come on. That might be it because that thing is sick. I don't know if you know the car I'm talking about. Black on black shade bay with a like fully gloss black engine with a bright red interior, and it's super sick. Yeah, it's super sick. I mean, I don't know. To be honest, like I could just sit here and name every car that was at Mayday. Like I could go down. That's what I mean. Like Jason Will's Rally right now with the RSs on it. That thing looks sick. Louise Rally with the 3.2 and the red interior. That's what I'm saying. I could literally name every Mk2 that was at Mayday. And
there's a lot of bangers. I'm jealous because let's get into Mayday. I'm jealous because
let's get in there.
Where you're at, you can actually have just a Mk2 show. full of Mark IIs.
Well, like I told you, we can get into Mayday, but like we'll get it. Yeah. Eventually, we'd love to come out and do something out near you.
Dude,
we would love to do a Mark II event.
Good luck. There's like 7 Mark IIs. There's like 7
that's
Mark
the kind of
IIs.
what I was. You think so though? Like,
No, there's a decent amount of cars.
Well, so, like, yeah, I mean
But
that's the thing is could you support it? But I mean, it looked like there was like a good handful at Pacific Waterland, and then I mean I follow a fair amount up in the Pacific Northwest. That it seems like there's a decent. I don't know that we would draw what we draw. Like all 3 years we've had right around 100. I don't know if we quite cracked 100 this year.
Okay,
it was close, but the first 2 years we were at or over 100. So yeah, I don't know if we would get that out on the West Coast, but it would be cool to try. I mean, even if we got 50, it would be cool.
Yeah, no, I was just joking when I said there's like 7 cars here.
I know.
There's a decent Mark II community in the Pacific Northwest. I think it's kind of weird. It's different, right? So when I see Mark II Mayday, I see like Mark IIs in like a lot of the bigger shows on the East Coast. You guys have way more like full package builds, like full package cars.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like the further out west you get, people like concentrate on certain things, and there's like less of like a full package deal, right? There's a lot of drivers. There's a lot of like cool patina slammed, static slammed Mark IIs rolling around. They're sick. I love those. And that it seems like a lot of people like focus a lot on like an engine build. And then the rest of the car is just kind of, I wouldn't say ignored, but it's not like the level of what they put into, like the engine build, the engine bay, or vice versa. It'll be like a stanced out Mark II, and then it'll be like, like a stock 8 valve or 16 valve, which is cool. I like the 16 valve cars, but it's weird. It's like people concentrate on like either an aesthetic or, like a motor build. And there's very few, I would say like full package, Mark IIs. Now, there's some fucking bangers. All the DJM guys. Dave.
I follow. What's the guy with the red one?
Dave.
The red, yeah.
His,
I follow him on Instagram. That thing is sick.
So sick. I saw it in person for the first time, and it's an all-wheel drive Mark II. Big turbo VR insane. All-wheel drive Mark II. It thing's fucking sick.
No doubt.
Dude, that car's so bad. I'm just thinking about it right now. Like I saw it for the first. I'm like, dude, I want your car.
Dude, that thing is serious.
There's a decent Mark II scene out here, I would say, but I think you guys.
I don't know. I'm not like. I mean, and it's certainly if we did it, it wouldn't be like a yearly thing. Like maybe like pull it off once every 5 or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. You might get enough cars out, dude. Who knows, dude? I think people are just salivating for show, especially like in my area. Like you guys, I was talking to Danny on the last podcast I did. It was like show after show after show after show, banger after banger after banger after banger.
Yeah.
Whereas it's here, we're like, well, we've got like 1 to 3 car shows to pick from that are all like 1,000 miles apart from each other.
So how far are you from Pacific Waterland?
It's about a 3-hour drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do they do that? Where is that?
It's in Pacific Waterland is in Woodburn, which is actually about a half an hour or so south of Portland. A little town called Woodburn. They do the drag strip. So, but a lot of people come up from Northern California or Eugene, Salem, down from Portland, Seattle. You got all the Valley dudes, even people coming from Boise. So they had a decent turnout for the show in general. Yeah,
it's like I don't know exactly where we would do it. Like, I mean, I know there's a decent amount down. Like I say West Coast, but that's like a huge, obviously, like Pacific Northwest and like LA are completely different spots.
Yeah.
I do know there's a fair amount of them down in like Southern California too. So like, I'm not sure where. I don't think it would be an event that like both the people down there and from the north could hit all in one. I don't know. It would be,
Some people would definitely try.
But yeah, I think, I mean, we have got, dude, for the first 2 Maydays. We had guys drive from Arizona, from Phoenix out to New Jersey. It was awesome, insane. Yeah,
Dude, that
I
is
remember like when spectators are free at the show, and I remember the first time I saw when Brad registered from Arizona in the first year, like I got a notification on my phone, and I was like, I wonder if he knows that like he doesn't, if he's flying, like he doesn't need like a ticket. Like I just like couldn't comprehend that someone was driving from Arizona to Jersey for Mayday.
That's a trek. Let's talk. All right, let's talk about Mayday. How did Mayday get started? Was 2018 was 2018 the first year? I tried to do
2018 was the first year. So it kind of started the first year that there was no H2O in Ocean City. I think that was 2017, I think.
Okay.
We kind of put together, someone started a group chat. I don't know if it was John Vanek maybe, or someone started a group, some Mark II guy. It wasn't me, I don't believe. Started a Mark II chat, or like a chat of all the guys that were going, guys and gals that were going to Ocean City still, even though there was no show. So we kind of like word of mouth through this Mark II get together for the weekend, and we got something like 45 or 50 cars, just like word of mouth on a weekend that there was no show there. Dude. And I mean, like I had the idea for like a while of maybe doing some, I didn't know what it looked like, but some sort of Mark II event. But I mean, not like that was some like original idea. Like obviously, like Mark I Madness has been going on for a while, but I never really like pictured myself as someone who put a show on, really, you know. But yeah, I don't know. That kind of got thrown together then, and I remember sitting down with Danny Santos as part of the team. Him, Pam, and I sat down at Pickles Pub after that weekend, and I remember being like, you know, we should do this. We should like try and put a Mark II thing together, and nothing really came of it then. We kind of just like stewed over it, and then eventually I like there were some people in that group chat was still kind of active, and there were people that were like obviously interested in doing that. So I pulled off like 5 people, to maybe, I don't know, not 5, maybe 3 or 4 people from that chat that were interested in, you know, doing a Mark II event. So ideas kind of like flew around and stuff, but nothing really like happened. And Pam will make sure anytime she tells the story, she makes sure this detail is not left out, that she was not part of the original group chat of the organization of Mayday. So
sorry, Pam.
yeah. So I don't know, but we were just like a bunch of dudes in there, and we didn't know what the hell we were doing, like trying to start a show from scratch. So Pam had some event planning experience. So as we went on, it made sense, like just obviously naturally she kind of like got into the middle of it, really.
She's like, hey guys, let me take this over. I know what I'm doing. You guys are lost.
Man, thank God she did. I mean, like, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of like where it started. It was just off of the Ocean City get together, that first year that there was no show in Ocean City.
And how many cars did you say you had like the first year of the Mark II Mayday in 2018?
Around 100 or so.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a good turnout for the first year. I mean, yeah, I remember thinking like when we were first planning it, being like, what are we gonna get, like 20 cars or something here? You know, like, but yeah, it was like crazy. And like I said, you know, we had Brad and Taylor drove out from Arizona for the first one, which was awesome. So
sick. And then you roll into 2019, you've got a little buzz because, I mean, dude, 100 cars at the first show, that's pretty substantial.
Yeah. Yeah, we ended up moving, so at the park, we do it, it's in Lebanon, New Jersey at Round Valley State Park, and there's kind of like 2 parking lots kind of next to each other, a bigger lot and a smaller lot. And the first year we did the show in the small lot because we didn't really know what we were going to, you know, how many were going to show up. But then the second year we moved it to the bigger lot, and we probably had that like 75 or 80% full, which was awesome.
Dude, and then I'm assuming COVID 2020, there were no Mark II Mayday.
No, so yeah, I mean, New Jersey shut down, and we couldn't get a permit. They wouldn't give a permit for for a gathering of that size. So yeah, we were postponed. We were hoping in 2020 we were going to be able to do something in September, but then as things kept progressing, it was obvious that no show was going to happen in 2020. So same, 2021 rolled around, and Jersey still the restrictions there. We briefly looked at other venues and stuff, but there was nothing really feasible that would really work for what we were trying to do. So we ended up just sticking it out, and luckily, later, second half of the summer, Jersey restrictions opened back up, and we were able to, get a permit and do our thing in September. So it was pretty awesome.
Nice. Now, when you're pulling permits for like a get together like this, is that kind of a pain in the butt type of deal, or is it pretty straightforward?
It's pretty straightforward at this point. We've got a really good relationship with the park, so. Nice. At this point, it's kind of just like tell them what the date is and fill out the paperwork. It's pretty much, at this point, it's not too big a deal.
Awesome, dude. That's rad. I was talking to Danny, and then just like a lot of the feedback and coverage and stuff I seen on this last event, Mayday 3, seemed like a pretty dope turnout and pretty chill event. Like,
yeah, definitely. I mean, we had an awesome turnout. Like, I don't know that we quite cracked 100 cars this time. I thought we had, but I talked to Danny Santos, who's part of the team that the group that puts it on, and he said he counted a little under that, like maybe 90 or so. But either way, we were pretty close to to that number, and we had people. Yeah, the furthest driven, the guy Michael Johnson, I think his name was. He drove from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Damn. So that's cool to see. Heather and Errol drove. They trailered her car up from Atlanta, and that's probably 10 or 12 hour drive, maybe something. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I drove down to Atlanta, and it was 24 hour round trip. So yeah, I assume it's further north than that, so it might be even more than 12 hours for him. But yeah, I mean, super awesome turnout. We had 4 rallies, I think, this year, which is so sick to see.
Danny Marcato. Danny Marcato, when I was talking to him, because him and Ryan were there from the People's Park podcast, podcast name, he said that they had, like, he set up a shot where there's like a red, white, and blue golf rally.
Yeah, we tried to keep them all like together. I guess it didn't just kind of work out that way. I think Mike Milligan, who's another guy that helps with everything on the team, he I think kind of threw them all together there. But it was cool that shout out Mike, shout out the whole team.
Shout out Mk2 Mayday team.
Yeah, we haven't really talked too much of the whole team yet, but I mean, it was cool having the rallies together, and then the Zonker was there, and crazy turnout, a lot of really cool cars.
Dude, I mean, you had PBW coverage for your event. So I mean,
the first year.
Yeah,
the first year we even had it, which is crazy. We didn't end up getting our shit together for the second year and getting everything in, so we didn't go in the second year. But we're working on that right now, so we'll definitely have it in again.
Dude, that's sick.
Really cool. Yeah, I mean, we had VW America. Sean, he reached out this year, and Volkswagen did
and they're handing out
a poster for us. They actually, unfortunately, they didn't have a setup. They didn't make it. They had an obligation somewhere else that we kind of can't remember what Sean was up to. But yeah, with the poster, I mean, even just having VW of America do a poster for us is super awesome.
Dude, that's rad. That's so rad. When you guys set up this show, what do the classes look like? Because they're all Mk2s, but you obviously have awards that you give out based. So what are the different classes? I'm going to throw that up in air quotes.
Yeah, classes is probably in quotes, because I wouldn't say they're broken into classes necessarily, but the awards are best big bumper golf, small bumper golf, big bumper Jetta, small bumper Jetta, best of show, obviously. What's that? Is that 5? There's 10 awards. Furthest driven, unicorn, best original. Yeah, unicorn, like rare or unusual, and the Zonker won that this year, which deservedly so. I mean, as soon as it rolled in the gate, it was like, that one's settled. Best original, what are the other two? I can't. I'm blanking. Oh, we normally had a People's Choice, but we forgot all the stuff to do People's Choice, like like the form you fill out. We forgot that with all the chaos. So it worked out that it was People's Choice that we just let the People's Car podcast pick that award for this year. Worked out. Which they picked Danny Santos, which is he's part of the Mayday team, which was cool because he jokingly said in the morning, he said, I'm gonna have to quit the team so I can finally be eligible to get one of these cool trophies. So he didn't have to quit the team and he still got a trophy. It worked out for him. There's one more I'm forgetting. I can't remember, but yeah, I mean, it's not so much about like awards or anything as much like it's more like, it's a show, but it's more of a gathering of just trying to, give a place that the Mark IIs can all get together. Like, we're getting to the days where you go to the bigger shows and you don't see like, you might see a handful of them or so. You don't, and as I've said earlier, I'm a Mark II guy. I don't ever want to see the day where Mark IIs aren't relevant or they're not coming out and, giving them a place, giving them an event to look forward to. Like, we have plenty of people tell us they've built cars just for Mark II Mayday, which is crazy to think about. That was, I could never fathom that when we first, started this, that's what it was going to turn into.
Dude, that's pretty awesome, man. That's super awesome. That's it. I know the whole, like, award thing, it gives, like, the show, like a fun aspect of it of like, hey, we're handing out these awards, but you don't put like an overtone on, like you don't see a like competitive like you know what I mean, I'm gonna win best big bumper car or whatever. It's just like you show up, if you get an award, you get an award. Right,
exactly. I mean, but like I think I did one post before the show started, like kind of highlighting the last year's winners, going over like just what the classes or what the awards were. And then the one post afterwards that, God, I'm like sweating. It's hot as hell in here. Sorry. God, I forgot what I was saying. Did one post after the show, just kind of wrapping up who the award winners were. But, we don't like to emphasize that. It's more about just getting everybody together and having fun.
I want to sponsor
getting all our friends together.
I want to sponsor the show next year. I want to try to come out to it.
All right, let's do it. You should come out, man. That would be super awesome.
I'll just have to buy another Mark II before then and drive out there, dude. I want that farthest driven.
Drive out. We're like, so we're only like an hour or so from Newark Airport, like in Jersey.
Shit, that would be
could easily fly in. Both Danny and Ted live probably 20 minutes from the airport, if that. We could easily get you there, man. You just need to, get on a flight. We'll take care of the rest.
That's rad.
May 7th, 2022. May 7th, 2022.
So you already got a date. Sick.
Yeah, we did. We haven't really posted. I think I kind of briefly said it in the wrap up post, and Pam said it at the show, like when we finished the awards. But in the next week or so, I'll put an official post out that highlights the next year's show.
Yeah, so. I want to sponsor it for sure. I want to add a trophy though.
Yeah,
I want like most clapped out Mark II. But like like for VAG Fair with Corey Show, I sponsored that like the POS award, and like it was cool and everything, but I didn't realize like how literal of a POS that class actually was.
Yeah, I kind of remember like I think I
don't want to be known as
that
guy. I like the lowered scrapers with patina and 3-piece wheels.
Yeah. No, we can work something out, man.
Sick.
We can get you out there. It'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
No, it looks like a super dope. And like those are the shows that I like, the ones that are like more of a meet, dude. It's like a community gathering and not so much as like a show.
Yeah.
When I hear car show nowadays, maybe it's just because I'm old, I think of like that toxic competitive aspect of it where you go there and this guy's talking shit about this guy, and then they call the awards and this guy's mad that this guy won and this guy's talking shit about this guy who won. It's like, I fucking hate all that shit.
It's really laid back. I much more of a get together than a show feel to it, definitely. But but yeah, we had an awesome turnout this year. We did a raffle for Foundation Blue and raised I think it was $865 for that. So that was pretty awesome. We had some awesome like award or giveaways for that. Johnny with Volkswagens, he did a really cool like keepsake art piece type of deal that actually Heather and Errol charged 77. They won that piece, which is cool. Yeah, we had a lot of really cool things.
Johnny's the man.
Yeah, Johnny's awesome, dude. Dude, he like it was awesome having him involved with Mayday this year. You know, he put together a pre get together at Buffalo Wild Wings on Friday night, the night before. And he came out and vended, and you know, it was awesome having him part of it. I didn't know Johnny until this year. I didn't know, like, I met him at Cult Classic this year, and then he ended up getting us on the People's Car podcast like 2 minutes later, which was awesome. But that was the first I met him, and you know, he did some awesome shit this year, like the Low Show, like the community hangout inside in the mall. Like my car was in the mall there at the store. That was like super cool to be a part of.
Dude, his store
he killed it.
His store looked like the best one. Now I wasn't there in person,
dude.
But from all the footage I've seen,
it was the best store there. I mean, like, obviously he didn't have the pockets of like Rotiform. Rotiform's store looked like it was like a store in the mall. I mean, it legitimately looked like it was like that. But the Rotiform, it should. Yeah. But yeah, Johnny, for like, you know, dude, it was so sick. I mean, all those cars in there with
there's nobody podcasting in the Rotiform store. I'm just messing with
exactly. Yeah, the podcast being set up right up front. He had like some arcade games in there. He had like couches that everyone were chilling on. Yeah, I mean, it was super cool. That was an awesome experience. That was a lot of fun to be a part of.
Yeah, let's talk about Low Show. So, like me being way out on the West Coast and not being able to make it, I was super sad about that. Seeing all of the event coverage just looked insane, dude. Like, just insane. Like the whole.
It was one of a It was insane. I mean, it was so one of a kind. I mean, like, what other show have you ever been to that's in a mall? Like, you know, yeah, right. It was wild. It was sick. I mean, like, definitely awesome thing they turned that into. Shout out to Audie and Ashley and everyone involved putting that together. That was super awesome.
That looks super gnarly. Maybe Mk2 Mayday on the West Coast, we'll just look for a defunct mall or something. We'll try to copy.
Yeah. I don't know if
movie
we have
theater.
those type of pockets.
Like a railroad station, just like something.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've gotten the park thing pretty nailed down. Maybe we'll just stick to a state park. We'll find a state park. And
there's some cool ones out here.
When we were at Low Show, we got a permit for a local town park that was in Pottstown at Low Show, and we did a Mk2 get together there, and we got like 25, 30 cars out there. So that was sick to, you know, to be able to do like, that's another, like we put on our show which is normally in May, and it's going back to May this year. Like you said, it was just in September because of COVID and everything. But we try and put on a lot of like satellite events at other shows. Like as we, you know, like we were talking, the second half of this season was insanely busy. We hit Wolfsgar up in Burlington, Vermont, and we did a little pre-get-together, Mk2 get-together, and then cruised all the Mk2s over to their, like, brew hop meet. We didn't do anything official at Vag Fair, but then when we went to Low Show, we did the get-together there.
Nice.
So, yeah, as well as doing our show, we try and, you know, get out to these other shows and travel throughout the season and put on some, like, satellite type of events as well.
I dig that because that, like, extends the show weekend. There's, like, more to do than just the event. That kind of reminds me of, like, how the H2O stuff was, where there would be like, you know, like a Mk2 meet here, or like the Mark 1 meets over here. Exactly. You know, that's kind of,
I think, kind of how it started. Like, there's like ever since I started going to H2O, there was always, you know, a Mk2 get together throughout the weekend, or Mark 3 or whatever every generation had one.
Yeah.
And you know, we did one in Alpine in Helen, Georgia. We did a get together there, a Mk2 get together there as well. So I mean, like. Yeah, that one's That's a sick one. That's a lot of fun. Paul does a great job with that.
Shout out, Paul.
Yeah, shout out Paul. Yeah, I mean, as many places we can get to, we love to travel and get out to these to these events and, promote our show and, meet the Mark II owners and stuff. We kind of think, we really try and get people to come from a fair distance to come to Mayday. Like we had the guys from Arizona, we had the guy from Ann Arbor, Michigan. We've had people from Florida. 2 years ago when the border was open, we had Canadian, a bunch of Canadian guys come down. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and we, when we go to ourselves to these shows, like go to drive 10 hours and go to Vermont or drive 12 hours and go to Georgia, like we're not just like asking people to come out to our show and drive a distance. Like we are doing it ourselves. We travel and get out there and do get on the road and, try and, promote our brand in other areas and stuff. So
that's awesome, man. And this last year too, like, with COVID hitting and shutting everything down last year, I think everyone had this renewed like energy and like all the events looked amazing this year throughout the whole show season circuit, whatever you want to call it. It seemed like there was a lot of like, oh, dude, I just feel the love of the whole community. It seems like there's a lot of like everyone's promoting everybody else's show, brand, whatever it is. I feel like a whole lot more love in the community than say like years past. You know what I mean? Like it just seems like everyone's kind of come together and it's like, we're going to go support this show. We're supporting this brand. We're supporting, it just seems like everyone's just in it to like help everyone else out, or not even that, just like be about like the community.
Yeah, definitely. I think this year definitely had more of that feel to it. Yeah, I don't know if, like you say, last year not having it, people kind of took for granted what they had, and then not being able to do it for a year. People are more, in tune to, appreciating what's there. But yeah, the scene, or not scene, a lot of people don't like the word scene for the community, like really did feel like it came together this year in a different way than it had before. There did seem to be this like tight knit feel to the community, like to all the show circuit this year. Like you said, it was it was cool, and hopefully next year it continues and it grows even more. I mean,
yeah, I don't see why not, dude. It's got such a good pace.
No, yeah, definitely.
Such a good vibe. Nothing but like, again, I haven't made it and been to these shows in person, but like just following all the social media stuff, seeing all the posts, just like taking the overall temperature, the vibes of all the events that have happened. All of them have been super awesome that I followed anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, this season, I think like it hit it hard. I mean, a lot of awesome shows this year in the second half. I mean, there wasn't like, Alpine happened in the first half, and I think Corey put on, there was like, I guess the Narsha, Corey put on Vag Fair Maine, which I haven't made it up there yet, but there were a few in the first half, but yeah, second half hit it hard and it was good.
Dude, that's awesome. And you guys already have a date for 2022, May
7th.
May 7th, 2022.
2022.
Throwing it on my calendar.
At the same, same venue, same everything.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Anything you're gonna change up anything? You're gonna change up anything for next year? You're gonna keep it kind of chill? Just
pretty chill. I mean, there's a few things maybe. I know a lot of people would like to see a swap meet of some sort, and we're trying to figure out how we can incorporate that in.
Better show up with billions of dollars.
Yeah, right. Maybe some of the maybe that's the solution to these guys messaging me thinking I've got my Mark II parts bin I'm sitting on. Maybe if we have a
some deep pockets going Mark II part shopping, dude. Shit.
That's it, man.
That's hilarious.
We don't have any food vendors. We've never had food vendors because that's like a little bit more
permitting
involved with the permitting and having to get like the fire marshal out there and that sort of stuff. But I mean, like, so I don't know, maybe in the future we would add some of that. I don't know if that'll, probably not next year, but potentially. But I mean, it's it's kind of cool how it works. You know, it's just kind of like you bring your own stuff and you have a picnic or that kind of thing. And
Nice.
then you also don't have like a generator running on a truck all day or that sort of thing. So maybe that would eventually, I don't really think so. I don't think too much will really change as far as like how the show's set up or anything.
Dude. Well, I mean, it looked like a super rad event this year. I've seen nothing but positive
it turned out great.
it. Yeah, it looked awesome, man. And that's why I wanted to get you on and talk to you. I was like impressed by it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was obsessed with Mark IIs until I sold mine. I still am. I've always loved Mark IIs, dude. I've always loved Mark IIs.
Well, yeah, I saw it on your episode with Danny, or maybe it was Ryan. With Ryan, you were talking about how the rally is your like ultimate, like.
It is, dude.
Yeah,
Mark
I'm
II
with you
Golf
on that.
Rally would be like my dream car.
The only thing like above, yeah, it's my dream car too. Probably the only thing above that might be like a Golf Limited, like the 16 valve supercharged synchro.
Like 4 of those, though, isn't there?
71 was the official tally made, but
again,
who knows how many are left.
I know, man. What was I think I saw one sell for like a ridiculous amount of money in Europe.
Yeah, I think like we were talking about it came up at Euro Summit, and someone said the last one that sold was like 90 grand US dollar.
I think it was something like that. Yeah.
For a Mark II. Yeah, I mean, hey, if you've got that kind of, if I hit the Powerball, like that would be my purchase. Screw a Ferrari or a Lambo. That would be it.
Dude, I don't know. I'd buy 2 golf rallies.
Yeah, right.
Probably couldn't even get 2 of them for 90 grand.
The way they're going right now, those things have jumped in price the past couple years. It's crazy.
I mean, damn, dude. I know. I want one so bad. Maybe I just gotta build.
Yeah, I would love one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking
there was that dude. There's a dude in the UK. What's his name? Like UK Spares or Matt UK Spares or something like that. And he was selling a rally shell like a couple of weeks ago.
What?
But it was still like I can't remember how many pounds it was, but I did the conversion. It was something like 14 grand for a shell, something like that.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah. And then you got to find everything and build it.
Yeah, that was his shell.
And that's what I think me and Ryan were talking about it too, because he was like, "Well, would you want like the stock G60? Because G60s are kind of garbage.
Yeah,
would you VR swap it."
Right.
I'm like, "Well, if you got a shell, you can kind of do whatever you want to it, but."
Yeah.
For me, like, what if you took like a Mark 6 Golf R and just shoved all the guts into a Mark II Golf Rally?
That'd be sick. I think Ryan also had the idea of doing some sort of 5-cylinder turbo. That would be cool. Tie in the rally.
S3.
Oh,
dude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm a VR guy. I don't know. Maybe a 3.2 would probably be my. But how many times has that been done?
A rally with a 3.2 VR5. That'd be sick.
That'd be pretty sick. Yeah.
All these dream cars that I just build in my fucking head that I'll never happen.
Dude, yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've got boatloads of cars built in my head.
Dude. Now, I've always have loved Mark IIs, and I think Mark IIs out of all the makes to date are probably the ones to get the least amount of hate from like enthusiasts. Would you say that?
Yeah.
I think so, dude.
Probably so.
How are you gonna hate on a Mark II?
Yeah, you can't really. I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm like in a bubble, but I'm definitely like Mark II centric. So like, I don't really know that I hear much of the the outside. What are the new generations think of this type of? Yeah, I don't really hang with that crew so much. So I'm not sure if I'm the guy to answer that.
I can see why Mark 1s can be a problem for people, right? They're Mark 1s. They're old.
Yeah.
They have Mark 1 issues. They're only got a little bit more of an elitist crowd. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Mark 1s. They're probably my favorite of all the Marks. But Mark 2 is just like, you can't really fuck with that boxy body style. Like, everything about the Mark 2 is just so fucking perfect. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the perfect. I'm talking about the Golfs and the GTIs, by the way, not the Jettas.
Yeah. Yeah, not this crazy Jet. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Mike always gives Ted and Danny shit about their Jetta. Like Mike and I have Golfs, and Mike's always giving Danny shit about his Jetta. But,
me and Mike would be homies. Shout out to Mike.
Yeah, shout out Mike.
And then like just
Yeah, I mean, like
everything swapped into the Mark II is just like perfect. Because in the
yeah,
Mark
well,
One they can be
that's
too
why I
crazy,
think I
right?
love
A 1.8T, a big turbo 1.8T, and a Mark One.
them so much.
That's kind of too
Yeah,
crazy.
well,
A VR and a Mark One, that's kind of crazy. They don't really handle well. But a VR and a Mark II, they handle well.
yeah,
Big turbo 1.8T and a Mark II, like it. I don't know, it just works
yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I've messed with a lot of Mark IIIs, so I don't know the GLX. I love the Mark III VR.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I parted out of I probably know more about them than I do a Mark II, really. But yeah, I'm like I know a lot of Mark II guys hate Mark IIIs. Like it's to them all they are donor cars and that But I don't know. I can dig a Mark III too. I mean. Like look at Kyle W's car right now. I think it's fucking insane.
Such a banger, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Mark IIIs.
Dude, like, and that's one of those cars. There's not many cars that you see in pictures and then you see in person, and it's better in person than it is in pictures.
Yeah.
And that's one of those cars. His car is insane. It's like it's off the charts. Like there's nothing that compares to that thing right now.
That thing looks insane, for sure. I want to see that thing in person.
It is. It's sick.
I love Mark IIIs. And I used to be a Mark IV kid. Yeah, I like Mark IVs too. Mark IVs are kind of the new Mark III, though. You know, they're like, pretty clapped. People didn't take care of them. I don't know. I like a good Mark IV though. Mark IV R32s, can't really fuck with those.
Oh yeah.
Mark Vs.
Yeah.
I'm out on Mark Vs. They grew on me for a little bit.
Mark.
I'm sorry, dude. Like,
nah, they don't.
That's what I was talking to Ryan.
That's
the People's Car podcast. He was like, "Really? I think I like Mark Vs. I think the Mark 6s were." I was like, "I don't know. Mark 6s look good though, to me anyway."
Yeah, I like a Mark 6. I like the Mark 6. Okay, it's not like the worst, but I do really like the Mark 7. I actually like they're like the Mark 7. I think is sick. And I like the Mark 8. A lot of people don't like the Mark 8. I've heard, like, I talked to a lot of people when they saw it. I like it. I think I was mixed on it in pictures, but when I saw it in person in Alpine, the GTI, the white one that VW's been pushing around all year.
So I saw that one.
Yeah, I think it looks sick.
I saw that one in person at Pacific Waterland.
Yeah, I was gonna say they had that out your way, right?
Yeah, and I looked at it and I gave it a good look over, and I was like, what do I think about the Mark 8s? And I was like, you know what? I like this Mark 8. I don't know if it was like a stock
that might be
Mark
it too.
8
I don't know
or like whatever. I don't think I'd be like, you know?
They had did they have a Mark 8 Golf R there too, or just the GTI?
I think they did have the Mark 8 Golf R there. Yeah.
Yeah, they had the Golf R. It was just a stock Golf R at Mark 8 Golf R at the at Low Show in the VW store, and that thing was pretty sick. I dig it.
It looks with the Mark 8 Golf R, it looks kind of homogenous to me. Like if you took the VW badge off of it and you put like a Hyundai badge on it, I'd be like, oh, it's like the new crazy Hyundai hatch, whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I can feel you on that, but I almost feel that's like, to me, that's with any new car. To be honest, like,
I guess you make a point there. I don't know, dude.
I mean, but I'm a Mark II guy, so anything like newer than a Mark IV, they're all the same. It's all the same shit.
That's kind of how I feel too. I don't know. I've been looking at like Mark V Rs because like Mark IV R32s are starting to get priced out of fucking what I want to spend on a car project.
They've skyrocketed too.
And then there you find them and they're clapped if you find one for a decent price. But I'm looking at, I'm like, what are Mark Vs at? And I'm like, you can get a pretty low air quotes mileage Mark V R32 for 8 to 10 grand. That's not bad. And then all you'd have to do is manual swap it. It can't be that hard.
DSG, so.
It can't be that hard to manual swap a Mark V, right? Golf R.
I have no idea what's involved in that.
I tried to look. I tried to go down this.
That's way newer than my breed.
I tried to go down this rabbit hole the other night because I was like looking at them. I was like, you know what? I couldn't really find anything.
I mean, I'm sure there's some.
There's got to be some.
I'm sure there's some transmission. Like, did they make them where the Mark Vs over there? Did they have a manual?
Why wouldn't
in Europe?
I don't think so. Maybe I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why wouldn't an O2M just bolt up to a a Mark 5 3.2 though.
I guess it probably, yeah, I guess the O2M would. I don't know.
I know you'd have to get the pedal box assembly.
That's a good question.
I don't know how the DSG.
Yeah, but you could probably use that. I mean, the pedal assembly, you could probably just use the manual pedal assembly from a GTI, right?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I would assume that would be fine.
I just don't know if the DSG is like so hardwired into the whole system that's what causes issues. But it's like, mechanically, you should just be able to throw an O2M on that shit and just go, right? Because that would be sick, dude. A manual swapped Mark 5 Golf R, that would be kind of rad.
It would definitely. It would make it much more appealing to me for sure.
Yeah,
that's kind of one of the things I'm not really a Mark 5. The Mark 5 body style is not my favorite. So
who is
that kind of like between between that and then being DSG, it's like Mark 5.
Sorry, Mark 5 guys.
Did that even exist?
We love everybody, but I have one buddy, Griff. He just got a Mark 5. He loves it. It's a GTI, but he keeps it clean. He put some cool, he didn't do like all the stupid Y body stuff. Mark 5s came out at a weird time too, where people were just doing weird shit to cars, and they were also ugly. And so I think it was kind of double nail in the coffin for me. But I have some buddies here into them, and they like them for what they are, and that's awesome. But I don't know, I don't even. When you think of like a Mark IV kid, you kind of get this image. When you think of someone who's in the Mark IIIs, you kind of get an image. You like see someone at a meet, you're like, that guy probably drives a Mark I. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of vibe that from people. Like, what does a Mark V guy look like? Who's that guy?
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. Good question.
Well, we love you, Mark V guys. We're just messing with you.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about Mark 8s, though, to change the subject. Maybe put some heat on the Mark 8s because nobody owns them yet.
I mean, right. Yeah, it'll be interesting once they actually hit the market and, like, you see some that are not, like, modified by VW. Like, that one looks cool, but I can get what you're saying. Like, I don't know if I would like another one or what's a stock, like, just let me see a stock GTI, you know.
And then
but I did think the Golf R was pretty sick.
That's the kind of the conundrum of new cars is just like a new car comes out, somebody gets it, throws airlift on it and some rotiforms, and then it's like a show car. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's like, it's pretty easy to make a show car out of a, Mark 5, 6,
you could
7,
say
8.
that about Mark IIs. You could be like, well, look at all this sea of Mark II, big bumper Mark II GTIs on RSs and RMs. And it's like, okay, I get that. But like, that's like, if you started with the clapped out Mark II and you went and turned that into, a show car or whatever, that took a lot of fucking effort. Right. You know what I mean? Finding parts, treasure hunting.
Yeah.
So that's impressive when someone's.
Well, it's like, rarely do you see a Mark II nowadays where like it's just a clean, unmolested car. Yeah. Like rarely do you find a Mark II that's clean enough that you could just put wheels and bags or coils on it and it be like show car quality. There's a few, like you'll see them pop up every now and then, but like the majority of like when you're buying a Mark II, it's clapped out or it needs a fair amount of work. It needs paint or whatever, it needs. If you get a
pristine T-Red 16 valve Mark II and you throw air ride on it, someone's gonna kick you in the balls.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's funny how you come around on that the older you get. I remember, there was a day when it was like, Tobias was saying this on his episode the other day with the People's Car. The first thing that we did was rip out the AC and do all that, hack all that shit out of there. But the older we get, it's that's the first thing you look to see if it has. It's does it have AC and does it work? That kind of shit.
It's weird. You hit a point to where you're like, man, you don't want to change. You start as you age, you want things more original, and that's kind of how. So I got a Mark IV R32 in there brand new, and I did a bunch of stupid shit, air ride, wheels, shaved, everything. But now that I'm older, the car has a lot more nostalgia value to me. If it was if I got a bone stock Mark IV R32. Like I wouldn't do anything to it.
Yeah.
Maybe throw coils on
right.
coilovers on it. Just
a little bit or whatever.
Dial the stance in a little bit. But that's it. But it's weird how that happens, right?
Yeah. Well, and there you go back to Tobias, like his Mark II, his 16 valve GTI, like that's what that car is. It's like a pretty original car with a 16 valve that he put the dual round front end back on, and it's just lowered with a set of wheels or whatever, you know.
I like the little fucking hideaway
the
cup holder mod, dude.
Sick. That is sick.
It is dope.
Yeah,
right back into
there's a few people doing that. Those are kind of coming around now.
I know.
Yeah,
I hit some dude up.
Sick.
Someone was
that's one thing. Like,
someone was like, hit this guy up because I had my Mark II. And someone was like, oh, hit this guy up. He does it. And then I hit him up, and he was like, oh no, I'll send you the 3D printing file for you to make your own. I was like, oh no, I don't want that. I just want to buy them. I'm not doing that. Which is rad.
That's funny. Like that's one thing about my car. So I've got a Mark III dash in it. I don't know if you come across that. I don't really post many interior pictures. That's probably one thing that I really regret about. Like,
can you still roll up the windows?
15 years ago. I've got an electric window. I put power. Did a power swap in it. Oh, and I had when I had the roll ups, I had the drivers was like just cleared. But then the passenger, I had to like make a stubby crank for it to work.
I had a buddy.
I finally.
That's funny. I had a buddy who did a Mark III dash swap into a Mark II a while back, and he would always have to open his door. He would like open his door to roll the window down.
Right. Yeah. So finally I was like, no, I'm just getting power set up and doing that.
Nice, dude. You're fancy.
Yeah.
Power windows on Mark II.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was like I probably would have left him if I had a Mark II dash. Like it's it was the having to crank the crank not fitting worth a shit, and scraping your knuckles on the dash every time you're putting the window up and down. But yeah, dude, that's probably one thing I'd probably if I were building the car again, it wouldn't have a Mark III dash. I would definitely keep the Mark II dash in it, and it would probably have a DigiFizz or something like that.
What suspension is your Mark II on? Is it static? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's static on B&G coilovers. Yeah, okay. The old B&Gs back in the day, like they're probably 10-year-old coil, or more than 10. Whenever I built the car 15 years ago, B&Gs back when they were. I don't even know if they still make them anymore.
There's so many coilover companies back then. I remember like the dawn of the cheap coilovers. It used to be you could only get expensive. It was like cup kits were for poor kids, right? Or cut springs.
Yeah.
It was like cup kit, but then you never get low enough on a cup kit. And then like coilovers where you had like KWs, H&Rs, like you had to spend money. And then like the dawn of the cheap coilovers hit. And what were those brands? What were the early JOM?
K Sports were one. Yeah, JOMs, and then there were K Sports that you could get like the K Sports were the cheap version of the B&Gs that had the shock mount, or like the bottom mount was adjustable as well. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I mean,
I remember when the JOMs.
I haven't been in the market for any of that kind of stuff in forever.
Oh, dude, coilovers are so cheap now. I mean, you just go on Amazon and get Mark II coilovers for like $300 delivered.
That's crazy.
Racelands. Like everyone, I talked to like a lot of younger kids in the scenes, and they think it all started with Raceland. And I was like, no, dude. JOM was where it was at.
Yeah, definitely.
They were cool, though. JOMs were cool. They didn't get knocked on for being the cheap coilovers, even though they were. Like, Raceland got a lot of hate.
Oh yeah, Raceland. My brother had the Racelands on his Mark III for a while, I think. But yeah,
they make suspension for everything. I think they even make like an Audi. I was looking at Audi R8, like Mark I Audi R8s. I'm like fantasizing about owning a Mark I Audi R8. I think they make
Racelands on an R8.
I would do that just to fucking do it. Like, yo, check out my slammed fucking Mark I Audi R8, dude. Racelands. Pull the perches. Dialed them down.
Oh, God, that's funny. That's super funny.
Oh, dude. Oh, well, I'm stoked, dude, for Mark 2 Mayday next year.
Yeah, man, you got to come out, and that'd be awesome if you sponsored, and
I'll do,
keep
yeah,
that,
for sure.
get something.
Let me know what you guys need. I want to sponsor, like I said, like a clapped out class, but like, you know what I mean, dude, like patina, slammed.
Yeah, not like
3-piece wheels. Not a literal POS, even though that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
I feel you. Yeah, man, that'd be awesome. We gotta get you out there, and that'd be a lot of fun.
Hell
for
yeah,
sure.
dude. Well, bro, thank you so much for being on the podcast and chatting with me and talking.
Thanks for having me, man.
Mk2 Mayday, Mark IIs in general. I love Mark IIs. Let's set the record straight. Mark IIs are.
Yeah.
See, I'm a Mark I guy, so I'm gonna say Mark IIs are one of the best. Marks.
One of the best, yeah.
It's a tie between Mark I's and Mark IIs for me.
I'm a Mark II guy. Mark IIs.
Dude, do you want to shout anybody out? Thanks, Pam. Hi, Pam.
Yeah, Pam. Let's shout out the whole Mk2 Mayday team, because it's not just me. It's not just Pam. Yeah, I mean, we've got Danny VW. I don't know his Instagram. I always get it mixed up. Him and Jason Wells. They're too close. I think it's VW PWR 91 or 91 VW. I don't know. Danny, him and his family, his wife Patty and his sister Jessica, they run the merch tent at the show at Mayday every year, and they do an awesome job. So shout out to them. That's great. Mike Milligan, who's pretty much turned into our official and unofficial photographer this year. He's taken a huge role this year and helped out with a lot of stuff. And Ted, Tech 2, he's involved with everything. So we've got an awesome team that helps with everything. So couldn't do it without all those guys.
Shout out to the whole team, dude. And thanks again, Gates,
for
definitely being on the podcast and chatting.
Thanks, Ryan.
We'll do it again, man. Anytime you want to come on, just hit me up. And, if I'm ever in the market for a Mark II again, I'll hit you up. I know you're sitting on a stash.
Yeah, hit me up.
Let anybody know about.
Yeah, right. No doubt, man. Cool.
All right, dude. I appreciate it.
All right, dude.
Thanks again.
Thanks man.
Thanks
Later,
to everybody for listening.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.
Fuck yeah, podcast. Fuck yeah.